Hello everyone, welcome to this video. In this video I'd like to talk to you about the vaccine race that's currently going on. So as you perhaps have seen in the news, a lot of companies all over the world are in a race to get the first vaccine for COVID-19. But what is this all about and why is this race around? That's what I would like to talk to you about in this video. So without any further ado, we jump into the topic. So COVID-19 seems to not disappear. Why? Because we are messing up, we don't follow the rules, we keep on spreading the virus, and so it's actually all, to blame on us. But because this is the case, and because it seems to not disappear, globally speaking, vaccines seems to be necessary, and this leads to a vaccine race. Why? So to understand this, we need to understand the pharmaceutical industry and how it works. So the interesting thing about this industry is that, vaccine development is very costly and takes a long time. So this requires a commitment of time and also a commitment of resources, a lot. And this of course means that not every player can first of all join such a vaccine race, and that you have very big players playing on in this industry, battling each other. And this of course leads to a lot of interest because you see actually a clash of titans. So the interesting thing also of vaccines is that often if you get a vaccine for something that is widespread, and so something for which there's going to be a lot of demand, there can be massive benefits to being the first one, despite of course this taking a long time and despite of course this being costly. So think about exclusive deals, right? The EU, the US, a lot of countries, a lot of regions have already committed themselves or have at least already gotten a promise from one or a couple of vaccine companies to be the first ones to be able to purchase a vaccine once it gets to the market. And if you think about this, from the perspective of a vaccine developer, once the vaccine is there, it seems like, only great things can come to this company. And this of course leads also to a massive jump in its stock price once it gets some positive results, and that's why we see a rally on the stock market for some of those companies that have already shown some initial promising results in terms of testing. Yes, they're not yet there, but because this takes a long time, initial results are already very promising. Of course, investors are jumping into the stocks of these vaccine companies to, hopefully, if there's going to get a vaccine from this company, hopefully they can also profit from this, stock price jump that's going to come because these companies are already having these commitments from countries and are already guaranteed of being able to sell a lot. So, also because it can take a long time for their competitors. So assume that one company is going to get the vaccine, and assume that 5 others are in the market, but they have still, let's say, 6 months before they get their vaccine. Then you also kind of get like this monopoly situation where you are the only one able to sell because you're the only one having this vaccine. And this of course was super interesting to see that some companies that are really going very fast in their vaccine development, these are of course getting extra interest because you can get the winner take all market. And you can get, the esteem, the prestige, you can get the network effects with all sorts of companies already being centered around you. It can get to a certain situation where you're almost the only company that's able to produce and sell a vaccine because you've been so far ahead of the rest that by the time the rest is joining the market, perhaps your vaccines have already solved COVID-19, right? So a big cloud around these vaccine companies, perhaps a bubble, perhaps not, but a lot of upside here. So of course there are also downsides, problems that we need to talk here, because it's not just a rosy, not just a nice picture that's being sketched, because the question is there really going to be a vaccine on the market or not? Or is it something going to be like with HIV where the medicine is just slowing down or just helping the body battle the virus? So if there's not going to be a vaccine, then of course this whole optimism around vaccine developing companies is going to be a bubble, and then we can see a stock market crash when it gets to these vaccine companies. So think about it. For the flu, we have shots, but they're not like 100% curing or 100% guaranteeing that we're not going to get the flu. Of course, they're helping remedying and so on. For HIV, again, so for certain things, there are treatments, certainly. And these companies, of course, their promising results show that there are going to be treatments. But the question is, are they really going to help solve the virus? And that's a question that at least on the day of today, is still very difficult to answer. And so investments are partly, of course, driven by optimism that indeed these vaccines are going to solve the virus. Then on top of this, of course, there's the question of cost. So how much are these vaccines going to cost actually? And are they going to be proportionate, and are they going to be fair? So think about these vaccine companies often, are also tied to certain countries. So certain countries, at least the country in which the vaccine company is going to want some privilege at least. It can be such a situation that if one company really gets a vaccine, others are still 3 to 6 months, let's say, until the vaccine development. You might get in a situation where the monopoly position is also going to lead to monopoly pricing, and that these vaccines are not going to be affordable, or at least not going to be proportionate to the value of the vaccine. And this is, of course, also something to think about, and something that will also suppress the upside on these companies, because some countries simply may want to deal with COVID-19 in an organic manner. Look at New Zealand, right? So they have, and also Tunisia, for example, these countries have successfully battled COVID-19 in an organic manner without a virus, of course at the cost of economic downfall, but still. And that's something to think about. Some countries simply may not want to commit to a vaccine if the price is going to be disproportionate to its benefits, and if it is not going to be fair enough. Then, of course, there's also the question of distributing these vaccines, right? So you are producing them, but how are you going to get them to all of the countries and to all of the people who need it? So this is going to take a long, long time. So it's not just a question of when the vaccine is going to come on the market, but also when it is going to be widely available to everyone who needs it. And if that's going to take a long, long time, then again, this optimism on the market that we're seeing currently might be misplaced, because, who knows whether we'll in 2022 not still be battling COVID-19. It completely depends, and hopefully countries and these companies are thinking about how to quickly and widely distribute these vaccines to the places that need them most. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if so, please don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe buttons. I wish you all the best in the world, and hope to see you again anytime soon in future videos. Take care, all the best in the world.